Yo, what's going on? This is the No Name Unknown podcast. I'm Brett Cormier, home of the future Super Bowl champion New England Patriots. I got these AirPods in. I don't even know why I still have them in. Whatever. Anyway, yeah. No Name Unknown podcast. I'm Brett Cormier. I think I already said that. Who cares? It's all good. We move. We're going to be doing, later on, we're going to be doing a mock draft. I'm just going to kind of recap everything that we've been talking about, that we've been doing this offseason, where I think kind of the trajectory of the season is going to go, and or not, I guess not really the season, but trajectory of the roster and where I think where the Patriots are going, because I feel like they are really narrowing down, especially with the free agents that they just got and things like that, and who they're having their 30 visits with. I did look at last year's 30 visits just to kind of get a perspective on what they really mean. We had 30 visits with two safeties. Zach Wheatley. I don't know if it's Zach E. Wheatley, has two E's at the end. I'm just going to call him Zach Wheatley from Penn State, safety. He's around a third. They're saying around a third. I think he is very likely to get into the second round. He's a very good athlete. I have been clamoring his name for a little bit. And also, they did interview Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, who seems like that could be a very good possibility if he did get to 31, because realistically, a player like him is not getting to late in the second round. He might go early in the second round, so that could be a possibility. We only obviously you only have a certain amount of draft picks, but we only had three of the top 30 visits that we did. We only drafted three of them. It was Joshua Farmer we got that had the 30 visit, and then Will Campbell, and who else was it? Kyle Williams. Kyle Williams was also the other 30 visit. So how I feel like looking at last year's draft, I was thinking, how do I feel like the Patriots are going to attack this draft? And how I think they are going to attack this year's draft is, for round one is going to be, I feel like, the biggest need for the team. Like the biggest, what is a good foundational piece that can join the team and play? It's really hard, especially in this 31 spot, to get guys that are going to be bona fide superstars. Even guys that get drafted real early, it doesn't mean that they're going to be, really good. We all know those guys. Don't have to go and list them. But so it's tough. The draft is hard. You see guys, everybody's clamoring for this guy and that guy, and clamoring's my word of the day. Sorry, I just showered, so my hair is like whatever. I keep doing that. I'm done. Everyone's clamoring for this guy and that guy, and he's the greatest athlete I've ever seen. Right now, the craziest thing is Kenyon Sadiq. Whoever drafts him is, dude. No offense to Kenyon Sadiq. Look, seemed like a cool guy or whatever. The dude is just not that good at football. He's a great athlete. He looks unbelievable. Like if you were to get a guy out of a lab and be like, this is what and presenting the greatest NFL player of all time. He will go down in infamy. He will be the statue. He will be the poster child of the NFL. You have Kenyon Sadiq walk out and smoke and lights, and it'd be like a WWE. It would be like, it'd be like unbelievable. Kenyon Sadiq would be that guy. But then none of the people have seen him play. Like he just got out of the lab and he has no idea what the hell he's doing. Like he's like, the dude has like, he runs routes like he has no idea what the fuck is going on, and it's just like, dude, like, I'm sorry, and he does do good stuff. Like everybody in college football is going to have good highlights. Like there's going to be players that look really good. You turn on the game and he's going to have some flash plays and he's going to look great. But The only reason I'm saying Kenyon Sadiq is because I feel like a lot of people are seeing him fall and they're like, oh, could we trade up and get him? Could we get this guy? He's an unbelievable athlete. And it's like, first of all, we need a tight end, but that's not like first round need. I think it could be, but not with these guys. Anyway, like if Tyler Warren was in this draft, I'd be like, dude, trade up to 10 to get this guy. You guy's unbelievable. But Kenyon Sadiq, he's falling and he's falling for a reason. And I think the talk around him might be, and he could go really high, but I've been seeing him in the mocks dropping a little bit. And, the hype could be kind of falling off a little bit. And I would jump off that train too. I mean, I would like him to be a good player if he goes, of course, if he goes to whatever. I'm not like hating on the actual human being. I'm just saying he's not that. I don't think when I watch him, I'm not like, oh my God, this guy's unbelievable. The other tight end on the team was a better tight end than him. And it kind of showed down the stretch of this season. Because I thought, so I wasn't not super into, but I wasn't watching the prospects like during the season, which I will be this year. So I kind of have more thought on it. But when I saw Oregon tight end, I thought it was the other tight end. I didn't think Kenyon Sadiq was the guy that everybody was claiming. I thought it was the other guy. I was like, oh, that guy's so nasty. He's really good. Like, I like that guy. He's he's gonna be unbelievable. And then I kept watching the game. I'm like watching him, and I'm like, wait, is this am I? So I had to go back and look and be like, this was like a couple like months ago when whatever. This is a while ago. This wasn't recent, but I was just like, what? Oh, it's the Jack guy that looks like a robot. But anyway, good for him though. He has good PR. He has great PR. And a physique like nobody's ever seen. But, I think another thing that we should be kind of weary about, especially talking about the Patriots, thinking about the Patriots, is, and I guess every team, but specifically for us, I think you have to find certain traits. It gets to the end of the day where, you look for, there's certain people where they got the look, they got the vibe, the speed, the athleticism. But then you like watch them play and it's like, okay, he's really good, but will it translate? I don't want to watch guys run past Prairie View, A&M or whatever. Like, I don't want to yeah, dude, you're supposed to absolutely cook these guys that are going to be accounting or doing what I'm like doing. Like, you should cook me. Yeah, I could play on that team. You should cook me. Like, I should not be in your realm. Like, come on. I don't want to see a receiver that is just out there just balling on some guy that's 5'8", 116 pounds, and just has no chance. Every time you look at that other team's game, they're losing like 40-0. It's like, okay, yeah, you should be absolutely destroying these guys. And also, another thing that I've been realizing too is the college scheme is so much different. Like production in college football does not translate exactly to the NFL. It helps. It does help. And you have to be in the right situation. Like, let's just use Marvin Harrison Jr. for a comparison. Like, he's a really good player. He went to Ohio State, unbelievable production. He looked pretty good. Goes to Arizona, not in a great situation, maybe not in the right scheme, not right quarterback. And he was hitting the trade rumors at the beginning of the offseason. It's about it. At some point, you have to just say, okay, I like this guy's traits a little bit more, but this guy really fits what we want. He attacks at the point of attack. He's aggressive. He's just exactly what we're looking for. And yeah, I also know a lot of the good guy thing is like so annoying to a lot of people. But there's also this thing where a lot of people talk about, the team chemistry. And if a guy goes into a locker room, it's easy for a locker room to dismantle. It's very easy for that to happen. And I think the building blocks of this team made it so made it so it's very hard for that core to break apart. It's going to be very hard for a guy, especially a rookie, to come in and just to tear it apart. But also, you don't want a guy that's so high on himself that he's the greatest and he comes into the roster and that's all teams talk about. Just look at, Shedeur. Shedeur Sanders is like, let's be honest. I don't think he's that good. I think he could be better, but I think there's a shot where he could be a decent, solid quarterback. But you have a guy where it's all, and I know this is like an extreme, but extremes are important to get the point down. That whole season was about, when Shedeur was the third quarterback or whatever he was, the whole season was about him playing. And then he plays and he throws one screen pass for 85 yards and he has 160 yards total on the game. And it's like, oh my God, he only had a week of practice. Look what could happen. Dude, he threw one pass to the running back. The running back broke 14 tackles and scored. And that was more than half of his yards on one play. So the whole thing is, you want guys that have confidence, and confidence in the way, I think Diggs, that's why I think we're going to miss Diggs a lot this year. And it's, his play on the field kind of started to decline a little bit, but it's the mentality in the locker room, but also he grew to have a professionalism that I thought was really important this year, where he was pushing the appreciation on everybody else, and it felt, you felt it throughout that receiver room. But I think the really important thing is you have guys that were in there last year and you could see kind of that blueprint of what he did. And you have Matt Collins still, who I think is going to be, I love Matt Collins and Drake May loves Matt Collins. And he's going to be a really crucial part in this team going forward. I think he's, 33, I believe, 33 years old. But the way he plays is just perfect for this offense. He can play on the outside. He can play on the inside. He can block. He's not the greatest deep threat, but he can go up and get the ball. My favorite part about him is he can run those digs and he can catch those balls in traffic in the middle. And not a lot of guys can do that. And with his size and with his frame, it's a really good security blanket. And I know that's not what everybody wants to hear, like, oh, he's just a good security blanket. But this kind of leads me into what I think the Patriots, or what the Patriots will be doing going into this season. Because off of the free agent signings and this and that, the way that they're creating this team is own the game. Okay, own the game. That's a lost art in the NFL, and it's due to the highlight reels and the social media and get all these athletes and all these athletes are coming in and it's just awesome and high scoring games and they want a lot of offense and the defense isn't as important and the hits are being, it's going to this type of game where it's turning into that spread offense where a lot of high schools are now running it and all the colleges are running it, and it's turning into a lot of spread and these teams and these players are starting to learn how to defend the spread early in their life. Like in middle school, these kids are playing spread offense, and these kids that are playing linebacker and safety and these where you would only, like, corner was, you would, when you were 10 years old, you would have like five passes in a game or whatever. And now kids are in quarterback camps at 10 years old, just slinging the heck out of the football. So the whole game is kind of going to one area. The whole game is going to this pass heavy offense and this pretty not balanced game. And it's a predictable game. And where the Patriots, I thought, were really good last year was It's tough because everybody, it's McDaniels. It can be frustrating. It can be so frustrating when it doesn't work. When the dives up the middle go for -1 yard and they keep doing it over and over again, and it's clearly not working. But the whole reason they're doing it is he's playing the chess match. He's playing the chess game. And you have these big guys out there. And I was watching yesterday. I was like, all right, what is McDaniels when he's in his bag? What is he doing? When he's locked in, when it's just like go time for McDaniels, when he had Tom Brady, what was he doing? I went to 2016, Tom. Dude, watch his highlights. His entire highlight is 1 or 2 tight end sets, single back or I formation, running, and you're putting the defense in base formation, which is what he's trying to do. He's trying to get these guys in big personnel. He's trying to get the defense in their big run-stopping personnel so you can run the play action and you can run these, tight end under routes and you can hit Gronk and you can hit these big athletic tight ends, and you can use even when Josh Gordon was on the team, you could use like Josh Gordon, and it puts the defense in such a bind, and that's what McDaniels was trying to do. Sometimes it doesn't look like that because you look at the game and it's like, dude, it's not working. What are you doing? This is the most frustrating thing It's the third quarter. Stop running dives. But if you stop running the dives, then they'll stop biting on that play action. And that's the thought process. And as a fan watching it, it's so frustrating. But when you see Drake May in the fourth quarter hit a play action sail route to Hunter Henry in the playoffs against the Chargers, and everybody's cheering, you don't think about the 20 other dives that got Derwin James to bite up a little bit and allowed Hunter Henry to get over the top of him and Drake to put that ball on. You don't think of that when it's in the moment. But when I go and look back, I'm like, okay, that was set up because all game long they were running they're window dressing it one way. They're window dressing it in different formations, this, that, and the other, but they're running the same play. They're running that same little zone inside run, or that their play action like a duo run, everything they've been doing, and then they can throw it over the top. And that's what they're doing. And it's so frustrating, but they're building their offense to be able to allow Drake to manipulate this defense. Because that's where he's really good at that. He's really good at reading the field, knowing what's going on, and he looks one way and he throws it the other way. He's in his second year, he manipulates the safeties and manipulates these linebackers really, really, really well. And if you get a guy that can run really good routes like Romeo Doubs, you have Hunter Henry who has that good cushion. Hill from the Dolphins that we got, not Tyreek. Is it Justin Hill or Julian Hill? I think it's Julian Hill. Sorry, I'm totally blanking on his name. If you get a guy like that who has been very block heavy, but when you see he has the ability. I just don't think the Dolphins use tight ends like they could have and should have. I don't think they utilize them as much. So he didn't get a lot of reception, but I think he could. And then in this draft, I think you can get a guy that can allow you to have these condensed formations, keep running it. And then you have a guy like Reggie Gilliam who can spread. When you want to run hurry up and you're in I formation, they're in base. They have the big guys on the field. You do not substitute, because when the offense substitutes, the defense allows a substitute. So you have them in base, you get that first down, and then you go immediately to spread and you put the fullback out. And we tried to do that a couple times, but we just did not have Westover. I don't think I think he looks like a really nice guy. He seems like a cool dude. No, I don't want to talk bad about him. Westover's I have the weirdest soft spot for Westover. I don't even dude, I have no idea who this guy, I don't know who he is. I'm not friends. I just have this soft spot for Westover where I am kind of the big, not the biggest fan of him, but I just I like the dude. Anyway, it's fine. But Westover just didn't have the capabilities to go out and do that stuff. And I think a guy like Reggie Gilliam will be able to. So you can run those I formations, 2 tight end sets, get them in big formations, think we're running the ball. Then you spread it out. You have empty formation. Then you throw it. Then you go back into, You go back into I formation, and you can mess them because that's what. Look, when the Patriots were really good, when Tom Brady was running, and I know Drake is not Tom Brady. I'm not comparing it to that, but if you take that same formula and you put it into this offense and with this quarterback and with this team, it can. Why would you try to go and copy what these bad teams are doing? These teams, most of these teams, like you look at the Eagles, they won because they ran the football really well. Like they were a good running team and they won the Super Bowl last year. The Seahawks ran the football really well this year. When the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, they started running the football really well that year. Every team that can run the football really well and keep good balance, and you don't want to throw the ball 30 times in a game because they're going to predict that. They're predicting it. You don't want to be in a scenario where you're throwing. You also don't want to throw it a bunch of times and score really fast in high-scoring games because then you're leaving your defense on the field. You want to control the game. You want to control the game, control the clock, keep the ball on the ground, keep the clock rolling, get ahead, stay ahead. And that's how you win the NFL. Win in the NFL. You don't this high-flying game is fun to watch, and as fans, we do want those sometimes, and you want those 40 to 42 games, and it's super fun to watch, and it's awesome. But at the same time, at the end of the day, you want them to win. At the end of the day, it's not about a million touchdowns and about the stats and about this. Tom Brady could have had 1,000 MVPs, but he didn't because they had a balanced game and they didn't try to run like at the goal line. They didn't try to run 1,000 pass plays. They would run the ball when they needed to. They would utilize that. So that's what I think they're going for on the offense. Defensive side, I do think they're going to stay kind of the same, but they want more hybrids on the outside where they can stop the run and they can play the pass. Like they can rush the passer. I don't know why I said play the pass. They can rush the passer. They can stop the run. And that's where we are doing a mock draft. I think I already said that. So that's where we're going to go through on this mock draft. Is I think early, there's a good chance that there's going to be some good edges that can be successful, play on the outside, play like an outside linebacker role. I have one guy in mind that I really, really like. Now, I'm not doing any trades, but some spots could be areas to trade down and get these guys. But I'm just going to take them at face value, take them where we are, just because I think it kind of muddies it a little bit too much because then it kind of puts false hope into certain dudes, certain players that we trade up and like trade up 10 spots or trade down 10 spots. And then you're like, oh, we could get blank. But really that trade down 10 is not that realistic, things like that. So, but yeah, I think the whole game, I think the Patriots are going to condense the field. I think condensing the field and this spread, when the game's spreading, we condense it. And when the game's condensing, we spread. Like that's what the Patriots are really, really, really good at. Is when in 2000, 2001, 2002, they were playing this game where you just beat the defense. You see what they're giving you and you beat the defense. A lot of teams, they just run the same stuff. Like you watch this game's going very West Coast. All these defenses are going to defend the West Coast. They're all trying to be able to stop this style. And if you just go away from that and you find success, which the Patriots did last year, for the most part, they found success in being able to run this pro style, single back formation, spread offense, but a condensed spread. And I think that's where they're going. I think that's a great idea. Go bigger bodies, being able to block and catch and run routes and be a dynamic team in general. Being a full dynamic team is super important. And I think that's where we're going. And that's where in this mock draft that we're pulling up right now is where we are going to go. So we're going for big, physical, dynamic players who just seem like they are perfect scheme fits. And they might not be the greatest player on the board at that point, but the scheme fit is where we're going to go. So let me get on over here So we got PFSN, and what we're gonna do, I'm gonna do 5 rounds, and we're gonna keep it on fast because we're not doing any trades. I will go back and see, and then this list we'll do PFF because I feel like it's kind of mostly what people know. So the first round is where it does get a little. It is interesting because there's a point where if a McNeil Warren did fall, I don't think Tielemans would go. But okay, it looks like the Bills got him. If a guy like McNeil Warren fell, or if a guy like, I don't think he will fall, but Thieneman, he's going real early. Things like that, where if some of these guys do end up falling, it would be interesting that are not edge rushers. Like CJ Allen, I do not think he's going to fall. I don't think he would fall this late to 31. Where I do think there would be a good chance of him going would be like the Eagles, I think the Bills would possibly take him. They do have a hole at safety that would make sense. Up here, the Jets could take him. But that probably would be smarter to go with a receiver. They kind of have some receiver. I don't know if that would be the smartest thing. I don't know. Look, it's the Jets, so they could take, who knows? Who freaking knows? They might even take Ty Simpson in that spot. That could be an area where Ty Simpson does go realistically. Let's be real. Let's be realistic for a second. Ty Simpson could go in this spot. And that could throw a lot of stuff off. Where else do we think Ty Simpson goes? Because let's do let's talk about this real quick. Dan Orlovsky is trying to push his agent, best friend, company guy, Ty Simpson, into the next number one guy, right? He's trying to say he's better than Mendoza. Here nor there. That's fine. I do think Ty Simpson's a good player. I don't think he's that great in a lot of big games. He didn't play that well. He had like 60 yards against Indiana. Interesting. Dan wants to talk about these big games. What big games? What big games? Which he said on Pat McAfee's show. What big games? It's like, oh, what about all the big games that he played at the end of the season and he destroyed Ty Simpson's team. I think Ty Simpson's a good player, but I feel like whenever a media guy, especially a guy like Dan Orlovsky, starts hyping a guy up, there's people that are stupid that run these NFL teams, and they go, especially the guy that runs the Jets, where a couple years ago he was like, what's his Madden rating? He was like worried about Madden ratings. Would listen to a guy like this and maybe make that selection in the first round. So that's an interesting thought. Is would they listen to that type of talk from a pundit? I don't know. It's very possible. Not like that really matters, but since they're in the division, that could mean we are opportuned to twice a year play Ty Simpson. So this is, I think this is actually a pretty okay board. I think this is possible. I think this is very possible for us to be sitting here at 31. If CJ Allen's on the board, this is a exact carbon copy of, not carbon copy, but a very similar style player as Robert Spillane. CJ Allen's a little bit, he's more athletic, but the same, I just mean play style, where downhill, nails, like just a big hitter, knows the game of football, reads the field. I think he was calling plays for Georgia. CJ Allen's a great player. I don't think he would make a year. I don't think he'll make a year at all. Like I don't think there's a shot. If anything, the Niners are probably going to go tackle because of their issues with their guy saying he wants to leave every year. Who knows? But there's a good chance that a lot of these teams Carnell Tate going to the Rams with Puka's situation, biting people now. We'll see what happens there. We'll see how that unfolds. I could see the Panthers being like, let's go get our Luke Kuechly, and that's like their whole thing, and they can so easily sell that to their fans is just going to get Luke Kuechly. And I'm just saying this because I don't want to take CJ Allen. I don't think he falls. If he did fall to this spot, if he did go to 31, I feel like the Patriots should like not eat like they'll be skipping to the podium. Like it'll be like, oh my God, I cannot believe this happened. But I don't think that will happen. It would be awesome, but I don't think it would happen. This is where this area is a super, super interesting spot where Derek Moore is a great player. He is fun. He can play the run decently well. But in the Senior Bowl, yeah, he was like he ran over Markel Bell, the tackle for the Miami Hurricanes. He ran him like flat, like put Bell on his back. Unbelievable pass rush. He is a very fun player to watch. Malachi Lawrence is getting a lot of buzz. He is a good player. He has the size. He has the speed. He has the athleticism. I think he's a heck of a player. I'm just not sure. These guys that jump really fast kind of scare me. They always kind of scare me because when the football's actually being played, and they're not being talked about like super high, or they're not talked about a lot, they're kind of like, oh, they are. And then they start to test, and it's like, oh my God, this guy's a first-round talent, or mid-second round, or whatever they say. It sends warning signs off for me. I'm like, did you not like the product that he was putting on the field, but then you ended up liking him because of his grades? That's very possible. So I think that's where I am with Malachi Lawrence. I like him. I think he's a good player. This is one of those guys where if you want Malachi Lawrence, if you want him, you trade back into the second round, like the beginning of the second round, and you can take him there. Could do that. Derek Moore, same type of thing. He's good. He's not first round worthy. He's not the guy that's like, oh my God, this is the most unbelievable player. This is also a spot where, look, we hate the Jets. So this could be a spot where you say, do you allow the Jets to come up to get Ty Simpson? If they haven't picked him already, do you allow the Cardinals to come up and get Ty Simpson? The only issue is if you allow one of those guys, the Jets will take one of these edges, and I think it would probably be maybe our Mason Thomas, which is they would probably get him anyway. Because my sight right now would be set on Gabe Akis. His Senior Bowl was great. His size is great. He plays outside linebacker. He's dropped into coverage before. He rushes the passer really well. 11 sacks in the Big Ten. I like his profile. I like how he can bull rush. He has a good amount of bend, especially for his size. And he has a little bit more flexibility than, let's say, Zion Young. Zion Young's flexibility is bumping more inside, where Gabe Akis, I think, is a little bit more of, he is the combination of Anthony Jennings and that Clavon Chason, which we got rid of both of those because they're taking up two spots. But I think a guy like Gabe Akis is a guy that he can defend the run and he can rush the passer. And I like how he can play standing up. He can play with his hand in the dirt. He's a big enough guy where he can bump inside, where if we're in a 3-4, he can bump in to be that end, that defensive end guy, not on the outside, but he can play on the inside. He can play on the outside. He can move around. And I think he has a more flexibility as a guy where you can move him around. And that's where I would go. Now, this is where I would maybe say, hey, Arizona, Do you want a quarterback? Right? Do you want a quarterback? I know I said I'm not going to propose any trades, but let's just see if we if the Patriots even thought about it. So it'd be 34 for 31, right? If they thought about it, it would be maybe where they have a huge gap. They have some huge gaps. That's their issue too, is they have 65 to 104, and then they have like this is just the 104 to 143 is like a huge gap where I'm not like, look, I'm not some guru guy. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But it could be maybe even something like, I couldn't even tell you. Like, I have no effing clue what you should do, especially while I'm talking and I'm not really thinking. Because we're moving up or we're moving back, so we're trying to get more out of them. 104 would be stupid for them, I would say. So it might be like something like 143 in next year's 3 or something like something like that. It might be something like in this, and obviously it wouldn't be this, but it might be something more similar to that, where they would get this pick, maybe go 180, maybe something in this area where they would do this and get more picks next year. That could be a possibility, but who cares? We're spending way too much time on this. Gabe Akis. I think Gabe Akis is like, we need an edge. We need an edge tight end. We need to, I don't say want to compete, but to play next year. Guys that have their hand in the dirt are a little bit easier to translate into next year production, into this current year, rookie year production. So I think getting a guy like him, like Gabe Akis, who is just a fun player to watch, fun player to have. He would wreak havoc. Teams would hate to play him. I would hate to play him if I'm sitting there watching. I would hate to play him. So that's our first pick. Now, looking here, I do like Jake Golday. Derek Moore. So just so we kind of know, Derek Moore went at 61 in this. So that is interesting. Eli Stowers, who he's a little bit small for me. He could play. I would like him if he fell in this area to maybe trade with them, trade up, go get him in this area. Omar Cooper. There's a thing with Omar Cooper for me. I think he's a very talented player, but I think he's also schematically talented, where it seemed like a lot of his catches, a lot of his good games, a lot of his good plays were schemed open from RPOs and things like that, where he was not allowed, but the defense allowed him to get behind them on slants and on this and on that, and he could hit holes, which is good and fun, but it's another one of those things where you have to look at it when they're not running RPOs and when they're not running screens. How successful was he? I think he was pretty successful, but not what I would want. Not enough. Not enough. See, Ty Simpson did go to 39. So this could actually be, this 34 spot could be where they would try to go up and get him, especially with the Jets that are right here. They could be thinking, hey, Ty Simpson, we need our quarterback. They're going to, if you trade up into the first round for a quarterback, you're going to overpay. You're going to overpay. So that second round and maybe like a third from Arizona, second round next year and a third from Arizona could be a very possible thing for them. It could be a very possible thing. Zion Young going there is perfect. I think this is a good draft. I think this is a very realistic draft. I usually, when I look at these, I don't think these are realistic ever, but Malachi Lawrence is still there. Romello Height is still there, which this is obviously we got an edge, but just to look, we did have a 30 visit with Romello Height. And that could be something where if a guy falls that the Patriots were not really thinking about or not expecting, and maybe out of the offense or this, that, or the other, Romello Height could be a great player. Malachi Lawrence, I think his hype is going to get him up into the beginning of the second round. So I don't know if he will be there, but Romello Height's a little bit older, but he's a guy where I think if the Patriots went with a different spot, maybe McNeil Warren fell, something like that, Romello Height would be a perfect candidate for this area. Now, another spot where I think, looking at last year's draft, thinking, okay, what exactly do the Patriots do in this spot? Sorry, I have this stupid ad popping up. What do the Patriots like to do in this second spot? And last year they got a running back, Travion Henderson, who they knew wasn't their number one guy. Explosive, really good player. How do I point to this? Come on. This is a lot harder than you guys think. Oh, there we go. Hey, look at this. This guy, Oscar Delp, is I've liked him this whole time. I've liked him, but for some reason, he's just like all the way down here. No idea why he's all the way down here. I have no idea. Like, dude, this guy is so good. And not only that, dude, his quarterback last year was awful. Like, no offense, bro. I'm sorry. I don't mean to call you awful, but man, it was rough. It was a rough season for Georgia football offensive quarterback. Not naming any names, just their quarterback play wasn't that good. But this dude is exactly what you want from a tight end. I mean, he's big, he's physical, he's fast as a MFer, dude. When he catches the ball, he like takes off. And I'm just like, what is going on? This guy is unbelievable. And he does block really well. He was in a pro-style offense, which I really like. I like how he was in a pro-style offense where he can translate decently well into this offense, into what the Patriots want to do. We got a Georgia guy in the third round last year. I don't think Oscar Delp, I think this is the area for him. If you look at last year's draft, a lot of tight ends did go early. Now, would this be a huge reach? Possibly. Sam Roush, I think, is a good player. He's a big body. It is what I like out of a tight end. Max Clare, I also like this style out of a tight end. I think he's a little bit taller than 6'4". I think he's like an inch taller, which is whatever. I think he might be a little bit bigger than that. If not, that's okay. But anyway, I wouldn't hate Max Clare. Michael Trigg, I'm not a huge fan of. He drops the ball a lot. His ball security is not great. His pass block is not great. His size is not great. His athleticism is not. Like, he's just not. He doesn't bounce off the page for me. I think Trigg and dude, Oscar Delp. I don't know how this injuries is above. Like, I could see Max Clare being above Delp just because, he played at Ohio State and he's a bigger body, this, that, and the other. Let's look at receivers just so, because I can hear people being like, look at receivers. Skylar Bell is a great player. I think he would fit really well into this team. But we'll look at tackles too. I think this could be a possibility. But if anything, I think Jude Bowery in the 4th or 5th. And then defense. Let's look at defense real quick. Zach Wheatley. He is a good player. I like Zach Wheatley. Let's see. Are there any quarterbacks on the board? Not for us. Because Garrett Nussmeier. Could we leverage any? Holy, dude. Can the Browns have any more picks? Oh, they traded back in this draft. This is not their actual pick. This is, who actually has this? Okay. See, this is kind of what I'm talking about, that we could get even better than this if they move up into the first round, because they received pick 39. So we could even get better than that. Anyway, yeah, there's not really teams we could leverage for a quarterback at this point for Nussmeier. It's probably just going to keep falling. But if I want to make this football team better, if I want to exponentially grow this football team this year, this guy played on a broken, fractured foot he didn't even know about. And he was running. He's done the Antonio Brown jump kick where he puts his foot in a guy's face 4 times last year. He's athletic. He's fun to watch. He can do it all. I think this guy is the future of the Patriots and Drake May's future security blanket. That's why Oscar Delp is our next pick. I picked him, right? I looked away as I clicked, and I was like, oh. There are a lot of other positions where I think, Jacob Rodriguez could be good there. I just think it's just so deep in that spot in that linebacker spot where I just don't think. So I'm going to fill this out too. I'm not doing trades, but this is an area where I think the Patriots could trade up into this third, which they have done before. They've traded up many spots into the third to get a guy that they want. And I think a guy like Zach Wheatley would be a player they trade up and go get. That's very much a position where I think we would go up and get that guy, but we didn't. So that's okay. We have a safety in place. We're not super stressed about this. Now we're just going, and especially in the third round, we're going for guys that we think can just change the game for us. We're going for guys that, can make plays anywhere and just be the guy. This could be a spot for Delp if the teams hear a lot more chatter. They know where a lot more guys are going. They know some boards. They have the inside information. This could be an area where you do go receiver or something like that in the second round and get a Delp here. You could go with a safety earlier. You could go in these areas where if you have that inside chatter, you have some information, which they all do. That could be an area. Here is where we pick my favorite player, my new favorite player. I started watching this guy, and yeah, Brazel. I don't think Brazel's going to be here. Let's be real. I don't think he's going to be here. I started watching Stribling. What was it? I saw a video. I saw something on him. I want to say around a week and a half ago. And I was like, oh, this guy's really good. And I started watching him, and they moved him around. They had him in the H-back behind the tight end, 2-point stance, like a running back, hands on his thighs, and moving him around type thing. And he was blocking. He was in these condensed formations, and he was doing these certain things and things like that. And he ran real fast. And I was like, oh, this guy's really good. And then the Patriots take him on they interview him on a 30 visit. And I was like, oh shoot, this is crazy. This is the guy, when you watch him play, he catches the ball, and when I say he's gone, he is gone. He has 40 speed, but he has the play speed, which I think is way more important. When you watch a guy play on Saturday and they run away from guys, that's more important than when you see a guy run a 40. When they created the 40-yard dash, did you know they created the 40-yard dash for gunners in the NFL to go get the punt returner? That's what they created the 40-yard dash for, to see who could get to the punt returner the fastest. That's what that was for, because they were punting about 40 yards. And now it's the staple for every receiver that is a bust in the NFL. Anyway, but Stribling is right in that sweet spot where he's fast. He's not too fast to where he has no lateral ability. He is a really good player. He's a fun player to watch. He can go get it deep. He can contest a catch. He can catch it short. He can catch screens. He can block. He can move around. He does a lot of really good things. He has decent route running. His release package needs a little bit of work, but I think it's an Ole Miss thing. I think because I was watching a lot of the other Ole Miss guys to see if it was a thing, and I think they just have too much foot fire at the beginning. A lot of foot fire, no movement. I like to see it if you're going to foot fire, which is when your feet start kind of chopping like this. I want to see just a little bit more patience, especially out of his feet, things like that, where I think he tries to rush it and try to look real fast, but the DB just kind of sitting there waiting for him to make his first move, and he's not going anywhere. He's chopping in place. He doesn't do that all the time, but he did that a couple times where, that's you can take that out. You get that out of your game. He's pretty dang good against press. Not the greatest guy against press, but he's not whatever. And he has a build similar. I don't want to say similar to AJ Brown, but he's a bigger guy. He has a little bit more weight on him. He can put even more weight on him. But he played at the same college. He has that same almost build, and he's just a really good player. And I think he could fit into this offense, especially in that third round spot where I think the Patriots are gonna feast and maybe move up a couple spots into the middle or into the beginning of the third, and then use a couple of these fourths to move up into it. Like I said, I'm not using these trades. I'm not I'm not doing any types of trades because I don't like to guess what these teams are doing, because realistically, nobody gets a trade right. It's all about feel and movement and how the board's rolling. And I just like to see in our areas, if we don't trade each pick, what guys can we get? And I think that's more important than trading and trying to simulate who we think is going where and what we think is the best thing and things like that. Anyway, I there's this thing about what I'm thinking that this team wants to do and play a decent amount of box safety. And I believe Bud Clark played a decent amount of box safety. He can fly. He kind of do a lot. He can do a lot of stuff. He is physical. I like how he plays. He's obviously he's not the greatest. He's not the most refined player, which I don't know if that's what they're looking for. I don't know if they would look for a more cerebral type player. That would be maybe like Cole Wisniewski. He does play a little bit more cerebral, and that's not saying a reason why. He just doesn't fly around as crazy as Bud Clark. This could be an area where they look to linebacker. It could be a very good possibility. Keshawn Elliott. I think this is more of Red Murdoch, Caleb Elam Orr type team. These four guys right here, Caleb, Owen, and Bryce, these are my guys where if one of these guys start to go, these guys are good. They're all really aggressive in the run game. They're viable in the pass. Like, they're okay in the pass. They're not going to be safeties or corners in the pass game. They're good enough in the pass game. They're athletic enough. I really like Red Murdoch. This dude is a missile. This dude is a absolute missile. Buffalo is a good spot too. Khalil Mack. I like Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack's cool. This is also another spot where we might have to look. This is a good area for some corners. NC State, this guy, I just think he's too small, but he is pretty good. I'm just kind of going to go down from 200 and down type thing. That's what I'm kind of doing. Or maybe not 200, but I just kind of wanted to go to NC State. I don't really know why. Cal, we got a guy from Cal before. He's okay. I liked Will Lee. I thought he was a pretty good player. Would he be in this area? I think he would be. He played pretty well against what's his name, Malachi Fields. This could be an area where you do go get a corner. Just because you don't know what Carlton Davis is, it's not because of Christian Gonzalez. You just don't know about that stuff with Carlton, not stuff with Carlton Davis, but you don't know what's going on exactly with him. Is he going to stay? Is he not? That would be such a fun pickup if we get this Harris that's like 9 feet tall. That's going to be another later selection. And then we'll just look at edges. I don't see anything in edge. So the spots that I would probably go is either Will Lee. I would go DB here. Bud Clark. Maybe a linebacker. I don't really think. And then we got our tight ends. We could go like tackle or guard here too, which is a possibility. Jude Bowery. We were just interviewing with him. Was at his pro day. He's a pretty good player. Bo Stevens is actually one of my favorite players in the draft. I love Bo Stevens. He's more of a power guy. It seems like we're going to a little bit more athletic size with our O-line. It seems like we might be doing that. I'm not too sure. Jeremiah Wright seems like a good player. He's a little bit bigger too. This could be an area where we do go guard. What are we thinking here? This is the toughest part for me is I know these guys, but it comes to a point where it's like, I don't really like, I don't know. Like the fourth round's tough. If it was me, if I was doing this, what I would do is I would go for Bud Clark here. I like Bud Clark. I like how he can play in the box. I like how he's physical. I like a lot of stuff about him. And Bud Clark here would be a good pick just to go get a player that you can have a little bit bigger of a role on these first down nickel formations. If you want to go big nickel and you want maybe that Marcus Jones guy that would come in late in that second, third down type player, Marcus Jones. You get a bigger guy like Bud Clark who can play a little bit of man coverage, not like whatever, but he can play a little bit in there and he can tackle if they try to run the football. Sam Roush, there's no way he drops to 130. Let's be real. No shot. Will Lee in this spot would like going DB back to back would actually be. I think this is a very good possibility. I like Will Lee. I think he's a really good player and he's a bigger body and he can learn from that Carlton Davis mold. That's kind of I would really like that if the Patriots got Will Lee in that spot. He's a good player. He against Notre Dame, he was playing really well. He's a physical guy. He has good speed. It's not perfectly polished, obviously, but he's a good player, and I think he could do a lot of good stuff. Shelton, is this the tackle? Yeah, positionally versatile. Let's see. I think I said, is he the tackle? I meant, is he the? I'm dumb. Anyway, let's see. Maybe we would go. I think guard is an interesting area here, or guard and tackle. I think tackles. We've been having. Is it? No, it's not this guy. It's not this guy. Where's the other tackle from Memphis? Travis Burke. We've been talking to this guy a lot. I've been seeing this guy's name constantly, like the most constant I've ever seen a player. And if you see him that many times, I feel like this is the type of guy where you just have to say, this is who we're drafting. I don't know if it's this early. Obviously 464, but he's huge and he moves people. And if you want to try to get a guy that you just think, it might be later. It might be like 6th or 7th round. But the reason why I'm just going to pick him is because I think I don't want to say he's a lock, but I think he's one of those guys where they get him in the 6th or 7th round. And we're just going to get him here because we're not doing all of them. This is our last pick. So we are going to get Travis Burke just to kind of show, hey, look, we are getting a tackle. We are going to try to do that. But look at this, man. This is exactly, me personally, this is exactly what the Patriots need. We need an edge rusher, a receiver. We need a tight end. Linebacker would make, realistically, in that 171 would be probably where that linebacker would go, where we would probably snag that linebacker. But like I said, Travis Burke has been linked to the Patriots for so long and so many times, and we've had so many meetings with him that I just think I should pick him just so people would kind of see, hey, we're getting a 6'9" mauler that plays right tackle. That is exactly what the Patriots look for, exactly what McDaniels likes in his offensive linemen. Huge, big body guys on the right-hand side. He loves those guys. Trent Brown, dudes like that, where Morgan Moses, obviously, who's playing there. So if you get a guy like Travis Burke, who is pretty much like shot for shot, exactly the same build as Morgan, this guy's even bigger, that would be really good for a guy like Travis Burke to learn from. And Memphis, it's not the word. Like if you're 6'9", like I would love for that to be a late round stab. That would be great. Realistically, in this 171 spot, maybe we would go with a tight end. But yeah, we got Gabe Akis, great player. Both can be in hand in the dirt, stand up, physical. Power, speed. He's got it all. He can play the pass game a little bit. He can drop back into the pass. He can play that. Then we got Oscar Delp in the 2nd round, who is going to be the future security blanket for Drake May. He can do it all. Big body, awesome player. He can catch and run, which the Patriots love to do with Hunter Henry. And imagine a guy that's even more athletic. That would be just so fun to have Oscar Delp on these little delay drag routes over the middle and just feast on those. And Tom Brady loved hitting those with Gronk. And I think we could utilize those again with Oscar Delp, just a little bit more athleticism than Hunter Henry. And then we got Stribling, who does it once again, does it all. That was our key going into this, is guys that do it all, guys that can play really well in certain situations and certain formations, and just schematic wise. Who do we think would be the best fit? And I think Deshaun Stribling is a great fit. He does a lot. He plays on the outside slot, plays at H-back. He could probably line up in the backfield if you ask him to. He's a big physical guy, strong at the catch point. He has good hands. Not the greatest hands of all time, but he has good hands. Very strong hands where he can catch slants across the middle. He can do a lot of good stuff. And then we got Bud Clark, who this could be an area where we do a double trade up. We trade up from 95. We trade up, go get Stribling. We have shown to do that, to trade up and get a guy that's on the bubble of 100 and go up and get Kyle Williams early in that third. We've done that with Stribling. I think that's what we could do here. And then maybe even with one of these spots, we trade up and go get a Zach Wheatley into this early 90s. So we maybe trade up into like the late 70s, get a Stribling, go trade up again in the 80s, go get a Zach Wheatley. But for this, we didn't do any trades. So Bud Clark kind of fits that same mold-ish, where he's a good player. He's physical. He's athletic. He runs around. I like his aggressiveness. I don't really care about penalties, especially in the Big 12. They love to throw penalties. They love the offense there. So I'm not too worried about too physical of a player. That can translate really well, especially how Vrabel likes his defense. Just play aggressive, go around, smash, go around, boom, hit. Will Lee is a great player. We need some depth at corner. He could be the next Carlton Davis guy. Same type of build, long, lanky, 32-inch arms. He can do a lot. He has good speed. He played big receivers. He played against Malachi Fields, who is a big player out of Notre Dame in college. He did well against him. So that could be a really good pickup late in this fourth round. If they don't do any trades or anything, they need that corner depth. This is a good spot in that fourth round where you can still get good talent, and they're not just going to be special team only. This is going to be a good area where they can be good players, especially if he learns after Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis. And then, of course, in the fifth round, we got Travis Burke. We've already talked about it, where this could be an area where we get a linebacker, we get something like that. But we get Travis Burke because we know he's been linked to the Patriots. They seem to really like this guy, and I like when they are in on a guy where it seems like they really like some of his traits or something of his traits, and they think he can translate really well, because that's important. Guys that can translate. It doesn't matter your productivity, anything like that. Of course, it does matter a little bit. If you're super underperforming in college, it's not great. It's not a good sign. I don't like that. I don't like when you're underperforming. But if you're performing decently well, and like a Deshaun Stribling, where he's not going crazy, Oscar Delp, the situation it's like these guys aren't really performing that well, but they have other underlying issues not with themselves, but with their quarterback play, with their offensive scheme. Defensive guys, O-line, I think it's a little bit more. If you're underperforming, that's kind of a little bit more on you, especially on the D-line. Like, if your scheme is not great, okay, can you get after the passer still? No, you couldn't. Interesting. I don't love that. I want to see a guy that's versatile, especially on the D-line, especially going against college guys that may not even make it. Or maybe guards that are tackles. Guards they're tackles in college, and they're guards in the pros, and they can't beat them on the edge and things like that. So that stuff kind of scares me. I'm saying that TJ Parker from Clemson, kind of weary and away from him. I'm not a huge fan of what he does. Also, 31 could be a Cassius Howell spot. I like Cassius Howell. I love his aggressiveness. I love how he plays. The arm length thing, I could care less about. I really don't care about. I mean, I know it's important to be able to get extension on to be able to run defend, but it comes to a point where it's like 2 inches of arms is. I mean, the T-Rex thing is just crazy. Like, it's fine. Like, I don't care that much. He had 11 and a half sacks in the SEC. good player. But we don't worry about that. We got Gabe Akis. He's our guy. But other than that, that's really it. We got a good draft. We got a good foundation going, and we don't really have to do anything too crazy, which is fun, which is nice. Of course, we do need some edge. We need a little bit of tight end help, and I think we secured those early in this draft, and that's really important to get what you need. So then you can just get after that, just trade up, go get guys you want, go get guys you think can help now in the future, especially in the future. Just get good depth and things like that later on in the draft. Get guys you really need. We can survive with the receiver core we have. We can play really well, especially with Romeo Dobbs. They're going to have to really pay attention to him on defense, which is going to be really awesome. And this is going to be an exciting season, exciting off season, exciting almost month. We're past a month away. So the draft is coming up quick. The pro days are starting. Pro days are rolling, and interviews are also well underway. So we'll see what happens. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for coming out. Once again, I'm Brett Cormier. This is the No Name Unknown podcast.